The law of attraction, manifestation, the Hermetic Principles, spells, rituals, affirmations, and prayers. On the surface, they seem like different languages: science, spirituality, witchcraft, religion. But underneath every belief system is one single biological truth. Your brain is a prediction engine. Every ritual, every affirmation, every prayer is an interface command for that engine, an attempt to teach the simulation what to render next. We call it manifestation or reality shifting. Neuroscience calls it predictive modeling, but it's the same function. Consciousness collapsing probability into one felt experience. Inside your skull, there is no light, no sound, only electrical storms, yet those storms feel like sunsets, voices, love. That's because perception isn't passive. It's a controlled hallucination tuned by belief. Every moment your brain predicts what reality should look like, and then edits the incoming data to match. You don't see the world as it is. You see it as your nervous system expects it to be. The same mechanism that fills in your blind spot when you look at a blank wall fills in your life according to your assumptions. Feeling is the secret, Neville said, because feeling locks the prediction in place. It tells the brain, yes, this is the world I expect. And once that prediction stabilizes, the simulation renders around it. So what is the neural code behind this magic? What we used to call witchcraft was simply emotional code spoken in a symbolic language. Spells, sigils, candles. They were all early user interfaces for the human prediction system. The Hermetic law, as within, so without, perfectly describes the Bayesian loop of predictive processing. The top-down model creates the outside world you perceive. Every religion points to this in disguise. Pray and believe you have received. The kingdom of heaven is within you. As a man thinketh, so is he. They were all describing neural coherence, aligning heart, thought, and action, so your inner frequency can stabilize the external hallucination. Modern neuroscience even shows that repetition and emotional charge increase myelination on specific circuits, thickening the electrical insulation that makes the thoughts fire faster. So every time you visualize your future and feel it real, you are literally growing white matter along the wealth or love or healing pathway. Nature itself runs on this principle. Mycelium networks, the neural fabric of the forest, grow just like our brains do, predicting where nutrients will appear, strengthening pathways at work, and pruning those that don't. It's the same code, consciousness fractaled into biology. You could say God imagined every outcome already, and we, the avatars, are the predictive nodes exploring which ones stabilize. The mushroom, the neuron, the galaxy, all versions of the same divine algorithm. Observe, predict, collapse, and evolve. And sometimes the simulation misaligns. A deja vu, a synchronicity, a glitch. That's a prediction error. Your brain realizing that its current model doesn't match the data. In spiritual terms, it's contrast, shadow, the pendulum swing. In quantum terms, it's the oscillation before the wave collapses. When you experience contrast, don't curse it. It's just the system learning. The faster you rewire your model, the faster reality re-renders. That's why visualization boards, journaling, scripting, and dream rehearsals all work. They're prediction simulators. Rehearsals for the neural code that determines which timeline collapses next. Reality is not a fixed terrain. It's a map you draw in real time. The clearer your model, the more coherent the render. So build new frames. Design new predictions. Visualize until the feeling clicks. That moment is the neural of signature certainty. It's the feeling of I know. That's when the simulation compiles. Fortune tellers, prophecies, algorithms, they all predict probabilities, but only you choose which one becomes true because your focus is the final compiler. The mind is an instrument, and the simulation is the stage. Every mantra, spell, and affirmation was just an ancient form of code. You are the programmer, and you are the prediction. When you choose a thought and bring it into being, the simulation obeys, not because it's magic, because it's math, a biological hallucination running on divine imagination. Beneath all of this predictive processing lives the subconscious, and that is the silent architect of the simulation. If your conscious mind is the cursor pointing at reality, the subconscious is the operating system compiling it. It's the storage of all your prior data, every belief, trauma, repetition, and emotion, shaping what your brain predicts will happen next. This is why children are sponges up until the age around 7. Their brainwaves are usually in that theta, alpha kind of hypnosis state, and they take information in. This is why introspective work is extremely important, to be able to look at all of your past and be able to process it and not hold on to it in such a way that it remaps your consciousness or your modality of reality. You want your reality to form and map to your conscious way that you want the reality to shift. This reality is essentially a playground for you to learn and expand, and you want your conscious, focused awareness to shift your reality into experiences that you want to have in the sim. And to do so, you need to use your own power of awareness, focus, and consciousness. Otherwise, the collective consciousness will steer you away from your alignment. Oftentimes, we are swayed by social media, what other people think, other people's opinions, just general fear mindset that has been embedded into us from different modalities. And unfortunately, this usually keeps your imagination in a lower state of frequency where you are not imagining larger, bigger things for your life. You're not in a state of expansion. So it's recognizing this and realizing it and understanding that that's why affirmations, hypnosis, and visualization all work. They're not magic words. They're data injections, updating the predictive model that decides what's possible for you. So when the subconscious accepts a new belief as true, it alters perception itself. You begin noticing symbols, people, and events that match your inner code. What most call signs from the universe are simply synchronizations between the predictive field and sensory input, proof that the subconscious has rewritten the simulation script. So you want to be always in a state of predicting what you want to experience. When I compile all of the experiences that I've had so far in my life, the ones that have gone exactly how I want them to go are generally ones where I have thought and predicted that specific scenario or situation. And it doesn't have to be something that's overtly complicated. I was doing this well before I even understood what I was doing. It could be as simple as going out and shopping for an obscure item. If you plot out your day and predict that you will find certain things and think about collapsing basically the probability of you finding them, and you do this in certain ways in your brain, you just don't recognize it. You come up with different scenarios and stories that you're always constantly telling yourself. And those stories and scenarios and beliefs that you're constantly stating around a situation, you are predicting and doing this predictive modeling scenario situation with everything in your life if you think deeply about it. So you need to start creating the stories, beliefs, all of your inner dialogue around predictive modeling that is always in accordance or in alignment with what you want to hallucinate on your screen of life, what you want to see next. You need to be in the state of projecting that out as a prediction. And of course, you want to feel it now and know that you have everything now, because in reality, like I mentioned before, everything has already been imagined by God, or it has been imagined before you by somebody, and it has been molded into the 3D. You cannot deny this. It has all come from imagination. Somebody has imagined something, and then it gets put down pen to paper, and then gets created into reality. It doesn't follow those exact steps, but throughout time, you understand that all the things that you see before you have been an ultimate creation from someplace. And even this goes back to the earth. So this is all in existence already. Nothing can be either created nor destroyed. It is all here for your enjoyment, and it is up to you on how you have your reality rendered to you. Not everybody sees reality in the same way. And the more that you grow your neurological system, if you will, your map of your specific reality, you will experience it in that way. This is why people are experiencing reality in much different ways. Not every creature, not every being, not every entity in the sim experience reality in the same way. You may not feel as though you're having all this serendipitous things happen to you while other people are. It's because they believe, or they know, or they just walk around with the expectancy that these things happen for them all the time. So in their reality, that does happen for them. Things crop up for them. If you view your reality that these things are not possible for you, if you view your reality that it is this 3D material thing that does not have any other type of consciousness outside of a rock being a rock, you have to understand that it all comes from ultimate mind. And if you trace that back, your level of conscious awareness will begin to shift, and you will see the simulation in different ways. People are able to hack this through hallucinogens, but I do not recommend this. People do this to have journeys and things of this nature. And from that perspective, I understand where you would want to do something of this nature, because it would give you that aha feeling or experience. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need it. It's not something that I recommend. You can induce these feelings through other mechanisms and modalities. But what's happening is you are brushing up with the liminal side of the simulation. This happens through out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, lucid dreaming, taking hallucinogens, sensory deprivation, breathing exercises. Just all the different things of this nature will give you the brush with the other side, and understanding that it is more than meets the eye. And once you start to train your brain, you will experience and see reality in a much different way, and you will see the opportunities, because you will be training your reticular activating system to tune into the weirdness. And then you can basically tune it into whichever avenue in life you want to improve, because that's what this is here for. And of course, there's going to be contrast. You don't grow if you don't have some sort of contrast, and the simulation is a myriad of experiences to be had. And unfortunately, sometimes we may not like the experience that was doled out to us, but everything is just a learning experience for the next map that you'll be living. It's just all a prediction for the next moment. And of course, you want to live in the now, but your brain really is always attempting to predict what's coming next. So if you can subconsciously train your brain or your mind or your just inner person, your automatic pilot, and when I say mind and brain, your brain is running all of your functions, but your mind has deeper conscious processes, and then you have your soul. But when you allow your brain to start autopiloting what the mind wants, what the awareness wants, what you want to see, what you want to hallucinate, what you want to experience. And these would all be experiences that is happening to feed into the Godhead, regardless of what you're doing. That's why a lot of people like to say just surrender to the experience, because no matter what the experience that you're having, it is data for the Godhead to experience back. So if you surrender, you would basically always have what you would assume to be the best outcome, because you would just be living your life through surrender, through God. And, it's up to you how you want to look at free will. That's a whole nother thing in and of itself. But at the end of the day, the brain wants to predict, and the brain is a prediction machine. So if you subconsciously feed your brain what is on the prediction reel, what's coming up next in the reel of life, it will show that to you, because it is in expectation of being in receipt of whatever that experience is, and it will guide you to have that experience. And that's why it's so important to bathe the subconscious and make it click, because it will automatically guide you, and you won't feel like you're doing this very difficult conscious process to lead you through the motions of whatever experience you're trying to have. And I feel as though some experiences may render a longer lag time. Just like there's waves and there's pendulums, there's time lags in between what would be quote unquote, as there's no such real thing as time or space. It's just the momentum that you experience something at. And sometimes that momentum feels slower at other times, or it could feel like it's taking longer. But at some point it will be achieved. And I hate to say, but if not this life, in your next, because I do believe this is an ongoing reel that does not end. It is all meant for ongoing expansion and for lessons learned, and to be able to just experience and gather data and have just this thing that we call life in the simulation, to not be floating out in the ethers all the time, just existing, doing, whatever. We're actually going through this cool process that, whether you look at it as interesting or not, it's up to you, but it is a process nonetheless of expansion, just like you would see a mushroom expanding in the forest. And so I'm going to end this here and suggest that you create your own positive predictions for the future. In the morning, predict your day, predict how your day is going to go, predict exactly how you want it to go. And if there's prediction errors, recalculate, and your brain will update with you. And that's how you can maneuver your way around and not always feel like you have to do all of these specific things all of the time to achieve your reality. Your reality is based upon the stories that you're constantly telling yourself, especially about the future. And a note on experience. Experiences are not all equally the same. You may be wanting to experience something, but the simulation renders it in a little bit of a different way than you wanted to experience it. It is up to you to decide on your perspective on how you choose to observe and interpret your experiences. I know everybody enjoyed this episode, and until the next time, I know you will all continue to manifest magic and resonate on your highest frequency.